Road to Vostok seems like a straightforward survival shooter on the surface. Cross the Finnish forest, avoid guards, reach Vostok. Simple, right? Well, no. This game has a habit of letting you think you've understood the rules, only to kill you in the most frustrating and almost personal way possible. And the worst part, most of it was never explained to you. So before you lose your entire inventory to something completely avoidable, let's talk about 10 things Road to Vostok never tells you, but will definitely use against you. Night has fallen, it's dark, you're nervous, and the immediate instinct is to turn on the flashlight. Makes sense, right? Zero visibility is terrifying, and the flashlight seems like exactly what you need to feel in control of the situation. The problem is that Road to Vostok doesn't warn you about the side effect, and this mistake kills new players all the time without even giving them a chance to react. When you turn on your flashlight in the dark, you become the most visible target on the entire map. Enemies might not see well at night, but they see light, and very well. You basically point a spotlight at yourself and put a shoot here sign on your chest. That feeling of security the flashlight provides is a trap. You see 2 meters ahead, and the enemy at the back sees you from 200 meters away. The turning point is understanding that the darkness of night is, in fact, your greatest ally. Without the flashlight, you blend into the environment, and enemies lose much of their ability to locate you. The right move is to move slowly, use your hearing, wait for your eyes to adapt to the environment, and trust the surrounding sounds more than your vision. Road to Vostok is a game that punishes those who rely on comfort, and the flashlight is exactly that, comfort wrapped in danger. So the rule is, flashlight only when absolutely necessary, and even then with total awareness of the risk. If you need to use it, turn it on for seconds, check what you need, and turn it off immediately. Never move through open areas or hallways you don't know with it on. The night in Road to Vostok wasn't made to be lit up. It was made to be navigated with care, patience, and above all, without drawing attention. Okay, so let me tell you something that Road to Vostok simply doesn't explain. And it's going to save you a lot of headache out there. I learned this the hard way, and I'm still a bit annoyed by it. When you kill a bandit, the natural instinct is to open their inventory and take everything, right? That's how practically every survival game works. But here's the problem. The rifle that guy was pointing at your face 2 seconds ago, it's not in his inventory. It just isn't. You open the loot screen, the weapon is nowhere to be found, and you're left thinking the game glitched or scammed you. What's actually happening is this. Road to Vostok's loot system is manual and physical. That weapon is still literally in the bandit's hands, on his body, exactly where he fell. You need to hover your mouse directly over the weapon, either on the ground near the body or still in the NPC's hand, and click on it specifically to pick it up. The game treats the weapon as a physical object in the world, not as a standard inventory item. It's a design choice that makes perfect sense once you understand it, but before that aha moment, it just feels broken. So next time you clear a group of bandits and feel like you didn't get any guns, don't leave yet. Patiently mouse over each body and look for the interaction prompt on the weapons themselves. You'll stop leaving gunfights empty-handed and start leaving fully geared. Trust me, once this clicks, the whole loot system in this game starts making a lot more sense. It seems obvious after you find out, but before that, it hurts. When you finally reach the shelter after an intense run, full of loot, exhausted, the feeling is one of total relief. You think, I'm safe, now I can organize everything calmly. And that's exactly where the game gets you. Entering the shelter doesn't pause anything. Hunger, thirst, all your stats keep dropping normally while you're there reorganizing inventory, comparing gear, and deciding what to discard. Time doesn't stop. The world doesn't stop. And you can die of starvation with the inventory screen open without realizing what's happening. This isn't a bug. It's an intentional design choice. The shelter is a hub, a reference point, but it's not a safe room. It doesn't protect you from your basic needs. It doesn't give you a deserved break. It doesn't reset your counters. You're still a human with hunger and thirst inside those walls, and the game is never going to hit the pause button for you. So before diving into hours of organizing your backpack, eat something, drink water, check your stats. Treat the shelter as an operational base, not as a place where you can relax and forget that the world outside continues to exist. Because it does, and so do your lungs and stomach. This tip right here is probably the most important one you'll hear in this video. It's no exaggeration. It is literally the difference between surviving and seeing the death screen without understanding what happened. The injury system in this game is brutal in a way most survival games don't even come close to. Severe bleeding, not treated with a tourniquet, will kill you in seconds, not minutes, not you have time to use a bandage and see what happens. Seconds. While you're opening your inventory, looking for the right item, equipping and applying it, your life is already gone. The developer himself confirmed this. Severe bleeds are lethal by design, and common bandages simply don't solve this type of injury. They aren't fast enough. The only item that stops this kind of hemorrhage is the tourniquet. It acts fast, it stops arterial bleeding, and it can literally be the difference between continuing your session or starting over from zero. And here's the detail many people ignore until it's too late. You need to carry at least 2 at all times. Not 1, 2. Because if you take 2 serious wounds in the same combat and only have 1 tourniquet, the second one will kill you while you're treating the first. If you're coming from games like Call of Duty or any more arcade-like shooter, pay close attention because your natural instinct will kill you here. The AI in this game is absurdly lethal at close range. If you try to enter a hallway, round a corner, and solve the problem run and gun style, you'll see the death screen before you understand what happened. At 10 meters away from a bandit, the odds are his, not yours. The game wasn't designed for you to be an action hero who clears rooms by shouting. It was designed to be tactical, slow, and calculated. And the AI was programmed exactly to punish those who forget that. The golden rule here is simple, 50 meters. Beyond that distance, you have the advantage, you can aim, position, and control the combat. Below that, especially in enclosed spaces, the AI reacts too fast, and the margin for error is practically 0. It's not artificial difficulty, it's the game telling you clearly that patience and positioning are your only real weapons. So every time you spot an enemy, resist the urge to push. Stop, evaluate the terrain, find cover at a safe distance, and let the combat happen on your terms. Road to Vostok rewards those who think before they shoot and mercilessly punishes those who act on impulse. Play like a sniper, not like an action movie soldier. The game has a layered permadeath system, and I only discovered the crewless part when it was already too late. Dying in Area 5 is already painful. You lose your backpack, all the loot you were carrying, and that already hurts quite a bit. But dying in the Vostok area, the game's final zone, is on a completely different level. It's not just losing what you were carrying, it's losing everything. Your weapon stash, your shelter builds, your entire progress. The game wipes everything, and you start from scratch as if you had never played. This isn't a bug. It's not an exaggerated punishment by accident. It's literally the game's design. The Vostok area is treated as the ultimate hardcore mode, the final test of everything you've learned and accumulated. The developer built this zone knowing exactly the psychological weight this total permadeath carries. It's the highest stake a survival game can offer you, and it won't warn you about it at the wrong time. So before you even think about entering the Vostok area, treat that decision as irreversible. Do a mental backup of everything you've built, everything you've hoarded, and ask yourself if you're really ready. Because in there, one mistake, one distraction, 1 second of carelessness, and hours of progress turn to dust. Road to Vostok has no mercy, and Vostok even less. This mechanic is one of the subtlest. I've already lost a few fights because of it without knowing why. You were aiming perfectly, you had cover, the situation seemed controlled, and the shots landed everywhere except on the enemy. The game has an arm stamina system separate from your character's general fatigue, and it directly affects your accuracy in a brutal way. When you keep your weapon raised for too long, fire in sequence, or move a lot with your gun at the ready, this indicator starts to drop. And when the arm icon turns red, your aim becomes a complete disaster. Shots come out uncoordinated, the gun shakes, and you basically end up wasting ammo while remaining exposed to danger. The solution is simple, but it goes against every combat instinct you have. Lower your weapon. It feels wrong in the middle of a gunfight, but that's exactly what you need to do. Lowering your weapon for a few seconds recovers arm stamina and gives you back the precision you need to hit the target. It's a conscious trade-off between momentary exposure and actual shooting efficiency. And those who learn to make this calculation quickly gain the upper hand in any confrontation. So pay attention to that icon as if your life depends on it, because in Road to Vostok, it literally does. A tired arm at the wrong moment isn't just an inconvenience. It's the difference between eliminating the enemy or being eliminated by them while your shots hit the walls. This is a tip that seems basic until the moment you're overloaded in the middle of an ambush and realize you can't even run for cover. Then, desperation hits. And it's already too late. Road to Vostok has a severe weight system, and being overweight isn't just a slow movement inconvenience, it's a death sentence in combat situations. When you exceed the limit, your stamina starts draining constantly, your character moves as if they're carrying the world on their back, and your aim becomes unstable on top of everything else. You lose the ability to react quickly, to flee, to reposition, everything you need to survive a real encounter. The problem is that the game's loot loop invites you to take everything you see. Every weapon, every item, every resource seems too valuable to leave behind, and before you know it, you're carrying twice what you should. Then a group of bandits appears out of nowhere, you need to run 15 meters to cover, and your character literally can't get there in time. Not because you played poorly, but because the heavy backpack turned you into a sitting duck. Weight discipline in Road to Vostok is just as important as knowing how to shoot. Before heading out to explore, set a limit for yourself and stick to it. Leave items behind, prioritize what really matters, and ensure that at any moment you can run, dodge, and react. Survival here isn't about carrying more, it's about getting back to the shelter alive with what's actually worth it. The game has a loot respawn system based on map transitions, meaning every time you leave a zone and come back, everything reappears. Items, boxes, hidden caches, everything is reset, as if you had never been there. This seems great at first glance, and it is. But there's a huge but the game doesn't warn you about. When the loot resets, the bandits also respawn. So imagine the scene. You carefully cleared that block of houses, eliminated every enemy, mentally marked the place as safe, and went back to get more. Then you go through a door, transition zones, and when you return, the place is crawling with enemies again. An apparently clear area is completely dangerous. Once more, no warning, no interface indication. It's you against your own memory betraying you. But once you understand this, the mechanic becomes a powerful tool. You can farm the same location repeatedly without having to explore the entire map. Just enter your shelter and come back. It's basically infinite loot if you have enough patience and ammo to deal with the enemies that respawn along with it. The game uses this as a central part of the exploration loop, and it makes perfect sense for a hardcore premise like this. The lesson here is simple. Never treat an area as safe after a transition. It doesn't matter how many times you've been there. It doesn't matter if you cleared everything on the last run. If you swap zones, it's back to square one. Treat every re-entry as if it were the first time. Road to Vostok doesn't play nice with those who get relaxed, and this mechanic is the clearest proof of that. You know that feeling of walking into an open area, thinking everything is fine, and suddenly taking a shot from somewhere you didn't even see. Yeah, you were probably traveling at the wrong time. Road to Vostok has a full 24-hour cycle that drastically changes everyone's behavior on the map. And the game doesn't stop to explain what that means in practice. You find out when it's already too late. The biggest problem happens at noon. This is the time of peak enemy activity in the game. More aggressive patrols, wider routes, and full visibility. When the sun is at its peak, enemies see you from afar, react faster, and seem to be everywhere at once. Areas that would be relatively peaceful to cross in the early hours of the morning turn into a minefield of eyes and triggers. And the worst part is that high visibility works both ways. You also see better, which gives you a false sense of control that can be costly. The solution, once you understand this, is simple. Plan your movements by the clock. Open field crossings, risky intersections, areas you know have patrols. Leave those for the middle of the night or early morning. The cover of night reduces the detection window and gives you space to move more calmly. It's not about courage. It's about tactical intelligence. Road to Vostok rewards those who think before they act. So next time you're about to cross that open area and the sun is blasting overhead, stop, wait, let time pass in-game. Those minutes of waiting could be the difference between reaching your destination with loot and returning to the death menu without understanding what happened. The day and night cycle isn't just visual. It's a survival system the game puts in your hands without giving you any manual.